welcome back. Welcome back to room one. Welcome back to the one stream. Wow, we're at the end of day 4. We've got one more amazing program for you on this amazing day where we have been honoring the frequency of unity in World Unity Week, and how appropriate. We're halfway through World Unity Week, but of course we're just kicking off the 99 days of peace through unity. It's amazing. It's incredible. All the voices, all the discussions, all the incredible content from right around the world. And this is going to be an awesome program. I'm honored to be here with Sandra Sheridan from the Sunray Meditation Society. And Sandra is a representative at the United Nations of the NGO for Sunray Meditation Society, doing incredible work with youth and with elders, and we're going to be looking at some of that amazing work that Sunray has done. We opened World Unity Week with a blessing from Venerable Dhyani, who I know is a leader at Sunray. So we're honored to have you back with us, and welcome to the program. Welcome to World Unity Week. Sandra, thank you so much for being with us. We're looking forward to tonight's program.
Thank you so much, Ben, and thank you for World Unity Week for being here and doing this. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see everyone here. As Ben said, my name is Sandra Sheridan. I'm the Sunray United Nations representative. But tonight on this program, we're going to show 2 videos, and they're going to be members of Sunray Meditation Society speaking about Sunray and about the upcoming 39th Elders and Youth Gathering, which is going to be at the end of July at the Sunray Peace Village in the Green Mountains of Lincoln, Vermont. So the first video will be with Reverend Meli. She is a Sunray minister of the Ywahoo lineage. Through her father, she's part of the Western Cherokee diaspora that journeyed to California during the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. She is a drum keeper for Unoli, a drum group that has been nominated for a Native American Music Award. Sunray Meditation Society is an international spiritual organization. And if we could see the first tape, please.
OCO, everyone. This is the word for hello in the Cherokee language. My name is Brian Russo, and welcome to our presentation on the upcoming 39th Annual Native Americans Elders and Youth Gathering at the Sunray Meditation Society in Peace Village in Lincoln, Vermont. This presentation will also give an overview of the Sunray Meditation Society and its mission over the last 4 decades for those just learning about this incredible society. We will begin with Sandra Sheridan sharing an opening prayer by Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo, founder of Sunray Meditation Society. Sandra is a minister in training and a Sunray United Nations NGO representative.
All appearances are vibration, and our thought flows within a field of communication and together. We are dreaming a world of beauty. This year, we will explore more deeply the impact of our thought, emotions, and sound upon life experience and choose the harmonization of appearances of discordance. The power of song, the sound of our thought, the voice of our view contributes to the appearances arising, and we choose to sing the songs of liberation. Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And we're so happy to have you join us here and to be able to talk about this gathering. This is the prayer that you just heard, and this is also the theme of this year's gathering, focused on the power of sound through revealing luminous clarity. Now I'd like to share some important information up front. The gathering will take place at the Sunray Meditation Society in Peace Village on Friday, and it will end Sunday, July 28th to the 30th, with workshops to follow on Monday, July 31st. This gathering is hosted by Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo, and she is the chief of the Green Mountain Anahuiwa and founder of the Sunray Meditation Society in Peace Village. So here is a link. You can go to the events tab on the site and select the Elders Gathering, or click that link in the description below on the recording. Sunray is an incredibly welcoming community So please be in touch about any details or logistics related to joining us in person. This year, we're excited to offer free camping to all attendees. We'll also have fully catered meals available for purchase, in addition to the programs and other offerings that are part of the price of admission. Attending the gathering is a great opportunity to really experience the magic of being at the land at the Peace Village. I've been coming to the Elders Gathering and Peacekeeper training for nearly a decade, and it's been wonderful to be a part of this community and humbling to learn how to walk the beauty way with such wise and caring teachers. This beauty way is a way of being in the world that has inspired and guided me to be a more loving, authentic version of myself in service to the world. Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo has been such an inspiration in my life, and it's a joy and privilege to share about her lineage in the Elders and Youth Gathering. Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo is the 27th generation lineage holder of the ancestral Ywahoo lineage in the Tsalagi or Cherokee tradition. Venerable is a respected teacher worldwide, especially as she carries 3 intact streams of ancient spiritual wisdom, Tsalagi, as well as Nyingma and Drikung Kagyu lineages of Tibetan Buddhism. Venerable and Sunray members have accomplished much in the last 4 decades, including the establishment of the Sunray Meditation Society as an international spiritual organization dedicated to planetary peace. And this is her book, Voices of Our Ancestors, which I highly recommend getting a copy of. Sunray's mission is to preserve and share the teachings of the peacemaker from the Cherokee spiritual traditions and the teachings of peacemaking from Tibetan Buddhism. The Sunray Peace Village is a sacred space where people may pray, make offerings, hold ceremony, receive teachings, and create community to further the purposes of Sunray Meditation Society. The original peoples of the Americas prophesied that the day would come when they would share their spiritual teachings with all people. For the past 38 years, Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo and the Sunray Meditation Society have been fulfilling that prophecy through the annual Elders and Youth Gathering. Moreover, Venerable is recognized as a Khandro, the equivalent of a High Buddhist Lama in Tibetan Buddhism, and her work with Tibetan Buddhists signifies the prophecy meeting of Tibetan Buddhists and Native Americans joining together in harmonious spiritual practice to support the world being brought back into balance. As the holder of both Buddhist and Native American lineage, Venerable is a living embodiment of this prophecy and many prophecies coming to fruition as she is sharing her teachings so they may be put into action and support peacekeeping for generations to come. So now we get to take a little virtual tour of Sunray. Upon arriving, you feel like you're in another world. There's this palpable change in the air. And when you come to the gathering, it's not just like showing up to any event, but participating in an immersive experience. The land itself is so special. And then the energy is taken to another level when the Sunray community comes from far and wide to be in prayer and celebration at this gathering. So when you come in, you'll see the clan pole right at the entry. And we see the 7 clans of the Tsalagi or Cherokee, and they're represented by these animals. And Dhyani's of the Wild Potato clan, and that you can see is at the top. So this beautiful tree was taken from a practitioner of the Sunray's land, and it was carved and brought here. So as soon as you enter into the space, you are in this sacred valley. And this is a quote by Venerable that really gets to the heart of what it's like to be up in the Green Mountains in this valley. Just as our organs systems are supported by Mother Earth's compassion, she is supported by our caretaking. To return the earth, appreciation and caretaking of her waters, mountains, and atmosphere is the responsibility of her children, which is us. That is our song in this time. So the land here is very special, and so are the waters. In Cherokee, the water is ama, or consciousness, like mama, and when we awaken to the cleansing properties of water, we wash away the obstacles to good relationship with self, others, and the earth. So Sunray is involved in a number of water stewardship initiatives, and it's really special to be up in these beautiful waters that end up going through the entire Northeast watershed. So it's a very sacred place that's being stewarded by the society. And also, as you enter into the grounds of Sunray, is this beautiful stupa that's also a reliquary. And of course, the white Tara shrine, which is circumnavigated, and many prayers are offered there. This is a picture of the inside of the shrine. And of course, Venerable meeting with the Dalai Lama. So the main buildings at Sunray, this is the Gadoahwi temples, and this is also the Gadoahwi's temple where Venerable gives her teaching. And it's a special room with an octagonal geometry. So when you go into this space, you feel it's like going into a plane, and you just feel there's a change of elevation. Just everything that's in that room and the immaculateness of that space is something to experience. And this is the community hall where a lot of events occur. There's also this beautiful lotus labyrinth, which is much like the journey of enlightenment and knowing ourselves. There's this beautiful meadow where all of the tents get set up. Again, you can come and camp on the land and just look at these beautiful vistas. And we also have, again, streams and nearby rivers as well. So this is one of my absolute favorite places, the arbor. So when you move through Sunray, at the very end of the property where all of the main buildings are, you go to the arbor. And the arbor is essentially a circle of cedar pylons. And as you can see in this picture right here, the different colored bands, they mark the 4 directions. So I like to think that this is really one of the beating hearts of Sunray. And you can see, just as this is the sun and this is the Peace Labyrinth, there's also a moon arbor. So it's really representing that as well. And really, this is showing that elders and youth gathering is a place for everyone of like mind and heart committed to living in harmony with the earth and all living beings, to learn, listen, share, and experience the creative power of a global spiritual community. This is not just an idea, but a practice that is implemented through the Cherokee teachings. For example, the dance of the 4 directions is performed in the sacred arbor, and the effects of this dance enhance the health of each individual by strengthening their electromagnetic fields. Furthermore, the dance is a responsibility we have to be in right relation with the earth and support the harmony of humanity with the earth and the cosmos. The dance that takes place in the arbor with these cedar posts surrounds a sacred fire in its center. And just to be around that fire and to see the wisdom keepers caretake the fire is an experience in itself. So this is where many of the teachings take place at the gathering. And this is also where the basic Sunray meditation is offered in many places, but this involves singing the chants of the Ywahoo lineage that have been passed down for thousands of years in this arbor. So the state of being there when there's no one there and when there's hundreds of people there, you can feel the silence and the deep connection, the heartbeat of nature, Mother Earth right there. And then when everyone's joined in celebration, you really feel the full force of the energy that this place has. So very, very special. The Sunray community is experiencing its 39th year of inviting now younger people as well as elders to join in the continuation of this work and peacekeeping mission. So it used to just be called Elders Gathering, and now it is expanding to be Elders and Youth. And the story of youth and elders coming together is reflected in this new naming. One of my favorite parts of the gathering is the inclusion of scientists, whether it's physicists or biologists, people that are climatologists. It's really amazing who comes to this space because they know the work that's being done here. So this is a picture of Dr. Rudy Shield, who I've gotten the opportunity to know over the past 10 years, who's a professor emeritus at Harvard, and him and Dhyani talked in great depth for many years as well on how the physics really that we know now is aligning with the ancestral teachings of Dhyani's lineage, as well as many of the traditions of original people. So this has to do, again, going back to the electromagnetic field around the body. How does that interface with the universe? And then what are the tangible effects of that? How do I then walk in health and harmony with my planet, knowing more about the cosmos and my relation to it? So this is definitely one of my favorite parts of this, because we have people coming together from so many walks of life, so many different nationalities, and everyone's accepted. There's no place on earth where the wisdom of our ancestors meets the cutting edge modern science like it does at our gathering. As Venerable Dhyani says, modern science is finally catching up with indigenous science and wisdom. So now, like never before, is a time for us to educate, innovate, and thrive based on this breakthrough understanding. We also are joined by many wisdom teachers that speak of many things at this gathering: ancient prophecies for one, multi-generational healing, community discussions about new ways to walk in harmony with Mother Earth in our politics, economy, environmentalism, and seeing the unity and unified approach that the teachings of original peoples offers through that. And in addition to teachings by Venerable herself in this gathering, there will also be presenters including Sunray's own Meli Kitchen, grandfather Kitchen's grandfather Mike Bastine, who will instruct on Native American ceremonial practices, and Ywahoo. So grandfather Mike was the apprentice of Mad Bear Anderson, who is a famous Tuscarora medicine man and member of the White Roots of Peace, who called forth the 5th generation of young Native American leaders, of which grandfather Mike, as well as Venerable, are integral members of. So this is a big part of the history of Sunray, is that really Venerable was answering a call to finally bring these teachings out to the world that had to have been in hiding for so long, and grandfather Mike is a big part of it. These teachings have real-world implications and applications, as many scientists and social entrepreneurs have taken the Peacekeeper teachings as a guiding light for many peacekeeping and climate projects globally. This year, Elders and Youth Gathering will be a hybrid event, so we'll be able to live stream in many teachers, but also there will be so many in person that we'll get to learn from right in the Sunray Peace Village in Lincoln, Vermont. I want to release this year's theme of the gathering. It is the power of sound and thought revealing luminous clarity. So this harkens back to our initial prayer, and I've experienced firsthand the teachings and practices related to sound at Sunray through the basic meditation. And this is something to be experienced, to be believed, and to be truly humbled before. The power of sound is felt deep in the body, mind, and spirit. And as one goes deeper into these practices, it awakens a luminosity that is both felt within and physically visible. So we're dealing with something here that for the Western mind seems incomprehensible. But when we look at history and we look at the teachings of original peoples, we see that this is essential and fundamental to their worldview about how our words and intentions shape reality, and how when we get in touch with our own voice in this beautiful sound, how it brings forth the clarity not only in our words and consciousness, but in all aspects of our being that helps to heal others. So I love this. I love this theme for this year. So now I would like to turn it over again to UN NGO representative Sandra Sheridan, who is going to be telling us about her experience as well as what Sunray's impact has been at the UN. So thank you so much, Sandra, for taking on this huge responsibility of bringing Sunray's message to the UN. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Greetings, everyone. As Brian said, my name is Sandra Sheridan. I'm one of the United Nations NGO representatives. I want to speak a little bit about Sunray Meditation Society's work at the United Nations and about the Elders and Youth Gathering. How did I get involved in Sunray? Well, many years ago, I was searching for a path, kind of a way to be with people, to be with the earth, to be with the animals, just to be in a good way, basically to be a better person. And there was a workshop that I was told about up in Rhode Island with 3 women spiritual teachers. And Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo was one of those teachers. And as she and some of her students sang the chants and did the meditation practice, it became like, oh, this is so familiar. It's like I knew the word, I knew the sounds, and it felt like home to me. It felt like very comfortable, and this was the place I needed to be, and I needed to study, and which is what I did. But also just to note that I grew up in the mountains of Western North Carolina, and that's where my family is now. And of course, that's the Great Smoky Mountains and the Blue Ridge Mountains and the land of the Cherokee or the Tsalagi people. And then many years later, here now, I find myself being in New York City and also a representative at the United Nations, working on an international level, bringing the Sunray teachings of peacekeeping forward. Sunray Meditation Society has been an NGO with the United Nations, accredited with the United Nations. Since 1992, it's now under the Department of Global Communications. Part of the work of Sunray is bringing peacekeeping principles out into the world. Venerable often speaks about and questions, do the teachings grow corn? So we ask ourselves that question. It's one thing to sit on a cushion and meditate and listen to extraordinary words from high spiritual teachers and wisdom beings, but does it grow corn? Does it feed the people? Is it fruitful and applicable to all? Well, yes, that's what we're doing at the United Nations. The focus of Sunray NGO at the United Nations is on Indigenous peoples. The goals are centered on raising awareness of Indigenous peoples' issues of land and water rights, education, health, and language. Poverty, preservation of culture, and lack of basic human rights are at the forefront. We strive to provide places where Indigenous voices can be heard on an international level. And with those voices, we are planting seeds of peace, seeds of right relationship, seeds of good cause. So we are planting the seeds of good cause to grow the earth that will support all beings and future generations. Indigenous peoples. For some people, experiencing this gathering may be one of the first times or experiences with Indigenous people in their way of life. Indigenous peoples have been the guardians of our planet to benefit humanity for thousands of years. Forests managed by Indigenous peoples store 38 billion tons of carbon, balancing the CO2 emissions in 2013. It is their right to have the basic human rights of peace of mind and security over their lands, territories, and resources. This historically has not been the case. Who are Indigenous people? It's estimated there are between 370 to 500 million Indigenous peoples in 90 countries worldwide, accounting for 6.2% of the global population. This is more than the entire population of South America. They speak an overwhelming majority of the world's estimated 7,000 languages and represent 5,000 different cultures. They are spread across the world from the Arctic to the South Pacific. Among the Indigenous people of the Americas, the Lakota, the Wampanoag, the Cherokee, the Navajo here in the United States, the Maya in Guatemala, the Aymara in Bolivia, the Inuit and Aleutians in the circumpolar region, the Sami of Northern Europe, the Aborigines and Torres Strait Islanders of Australia, and the Maori of New Zealand, the Maasai of Africa. That's just to name a very few. They all have a special relationship with their lands and hold diverse ideas of development based on their own values, visions, needs, and worldviews and priorities. Now, on a more local level in the United States, the national level, there are about 6.79 million Native Americans. There are 574 federally recognized tribes or nations, and there are 64 state recognized tribes. And then there are those tribes and bands that are not recognized by the US government for various reasons. Culture and knowledge. Indigenous people are the holders of unique languages, knowledge systems, and beliefs, and possess invaluable knowledge of practices for the sustainable management of natural resources. They have a special relationship to and use of their traditional lands. Their ancestral land has a fundamental importance to their collective physical and cultural survival as peoples. This is why it's such a blessing for Venerable and Sunray to be able to invite everyone to the land and waters of the Peace Village to experience firsthand the caretaking wisdom of how we can truly live in right relationship with Mother Earth. For example, the location of Sunray was chosen by Venerable Dhyani given its proximity to the Green Mountains and to the headwaters of the rivers that go on to feed the watersheds of the Northeast region of the United States. So just by visiting the Peace Village in the Sacred Valley, we are brought into alignment with how to cultivate the caretaker mind. Bringing voices, insight, ancient knowledge, and traditions at this gathering is truly the growing edge and evolution of caretaking the earth at this time. The 38th Annual Native American Elders and Youth Gathering. This is a time to meet with Native American elders to listen to their stories, hear the songs, and gain knowledge and wisdom from their people who are the guardians of our planet and maintain their traditional practices to honor the earth and all its beings. This gathering is part of the weaving of right relationship with all beings. By participating in the teachings and ceremonies, we are all adding to the health, vitality, and diversity of the planet. As we learn to respect the earth and all her beings. As I said before, Indigenous peoples have been the guardians of our planet to benefit humanity for thousands of years. They have lived well with all beings on earth for thousands of years. We can listen, observe, and learn with respect. We all want to be in good relationship with our environment, the land, the animals, the resources, our family, and our friends. The gathering allows a safe, supportive place for Native teachings and practices to be shared and heard. Everyone from all cultures, traditions, and walks of life are welcome to attend and participate in the peacekeeper practices. We warmly welcome you to walk the beauty way with us and hope to see you in person or online at our 39th annual gathering this July. Thank you. And now we'll hear from Margaret Schultz.
Hi, everyone. My name is Margaret. I have been a Sunray Community Member since 2019, and I've been drawn to the land since high school. When I was a young adult, I used to go for drives around my home to clear my head, especially when I was feeling anxious. One day, in the middle of winter, I was driving and I came across a sign for the town of Jerusalem on Jerusalem Road. I'm Jewish, and I was born in Vermont, and I never heard of this town before. So I decided to investigate. I drove down the dirt road until I came to a field with a large pole and a white stupa. It felt familiar, so I stopped and I walked around. I walked past buildings, fields, and lots of trees, following a windy road. At the end, I found a beautiful circular wooden structure, and behind it was a labyrinth. I spent a long time in this beautiful place, not encountering another person. I left feeling very calm, cleared of the anxieties I had prior. For years after this initial encounter, I would continue to return to this beautiful place. Oddly enough, finding it through various different routes, without ever putting it into my GPS. Each time I went, I never saw another person, and I always left feeling much better than when I had arrived. I ended up moving to Australia for many years, and upon my return, I wanted to show my now husband this very special place I would visit. As we were driving, I was caught up in judgment of myself, of my partner, of everything. I ended up spending an hour driving around in circles, unable to find this land. Finally, I let go of control and released the judgment, and then I started noticing the signs. The gas station with the Buddha statue pointing the way, the corner market, the dirt road. When we arrived at my special place, there were cars in the driveway. This was the first time I'd ever encountered other people. My partner and I walked down the dirt road towards the labyrinth, and the first person I ever saw on the land waved and smiled. This was Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo. She and the rest of the community were on the land for peacekeepers. I share this story with you to illuminate how special the Sunray land and Venerable Dhyani are. They are beacons calling people home. They are antennas broadcasting peace. Since that initial day of meeting the community for the first time, I've wanted to be a part of it and be in service to it, to help this community and land grow and thrive and reach as many souls as possible. The land is sacred. The teachings are invaluable. Our teacher reflects to us our divine luminosity, and community is home. Sharing Sunray with as many people as possible was the driving force behind Peace Fest, a substance-free celebration and exploration of music, art, dance, local food, and wisdom, traditions, and practices that care for our world and each other at the Sunray Meditation Society and Peace Village. Peace Fest was created as a way to bring people together, to celebrate community, build new connections with ourselves and others, and energize planetary peace. Peace Fest has become my Peacekeeper project. The Peacekeeper program, a foundational practice of the Tsalagi Ywahoo lineage, trains people in personal and planetary transformation by learning to perceive the patterns of mind emotion and to bring forth peace in the hearts of the people and Mother Earth. The program is rooted in the timeless Native American spiritual wisdom of caretaker mind and living in right relation within the circle of life. The program also offers the opportunity to align with one's life purpose so that one may manifest one's gifts in harmony with the planetary biosphere. This opportunity for alignment is expressed through a student's Peacekeeper project, which is an opportunity to take these teachings and apply them in the real world. I'm excited to amplify my Peacekeeper project, Peace Fest, at the World Unity Week through the 99 Days of Peace Week, 99 Days to Peace Week. To give some background on my inspiration for Peace Fest, I used to work in a home for women who got released from prison with substance use disorders. It was always my dream to create a space where people would experience the powerful healing of dance, music, and community that wasn't surrounded by intoxicants. This is what Peace Fest offers, a safe space for all people to celebrate the beauty of the world together. This event is very important because it also is an invitation for anyone who is interested in the land, the teachings, and the community, or the intention, to come and share space in a way that may be more familiar. Sometimes people believe they are not worthy to attend spiritual teachings, and even though Sunray teachings are open to all people of aligned heart and mind, Peace Fest creates another bridge, an invitation to be in community, to support each other, and celebrate living in good relation. Peace Fest is a family-friendly, donation-based event, so that way anyone who wants to attend can, regardless of their financial situation. As I mentioned before, Sunray is an antenna, and the mission of Peace Fest is to generate the message of peace for all to experience across all realms. Helping support Peace Fest, even if you can't attend, helps this message broadcast for all sentient beings. Venerable said during one of her monthly wisdom teachings, "How do we restore the rhythm of a healthy community? First, we know that it is true we are all well, and when we place our attention on the expression of that wellness, where the mind observes, where the mind follows or flows, those ideas become the keynote or appear as the keynote in our lives. Ah, how wonderful." If you're interested in learning more about Peace Fest, buying a ticket, or making a financial contribution, please go to sunray.org/peacefest. Thank you.
Our connecting page at sunray.org. So you're welcome to connect with us there. and I'll pass it off to Sandra, who will give us a final conclusive prayer.
Thank you. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings rejoice in the well-being of others. May all beings live in peace, free from greed and hatred. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We hope to see you at the gathering, whether it's online or hopefully in person. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope to hear from you. Many blessings.
Thank you. Let me tell you a little bit about the speakers that you just heard. Brian Russo is a teacher, musician, and evolutionary leader committed to personal and planetary transformation through the Peacekeeper teachings. With inspiration from Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo, he created Rainbow Circle, a whole systems education platform for co-creating a regenerative earth. Most recently, Brian contributed to a chapter on holistic design to the Holo Movement book. The Holo Movement is a social movement founded in love with a collective mission to support a global shift in consciousness that bridges science and spirituality. At the gathering, Brian will bring crystal bowls and share his overtone singing to support everyone's well-being and attunement to individual and collective harmony. The second speaker was myself, whom you know a little bit about, but let me tell you also that I'm a physical therapist and I specialize in manual therapies, meaning cranial sacral therapy and visceral manipulation, as well as therapeutic exercise. And Margaret Schultz lives in the beautiful Green Mountain state of Vermont in the vibrant city of Winooski. Margaret is the founder of the Winter Sun Collective, a community space focused on enhancing connection, creation, and growth. In her free time, Margaret likes to DJ substance-free dance parties and meditate at her spiritual home at the Sunray Meditation Society in Lincoln, Vermont. Margaret has been a practitioner at Sunray since 2019. And now we can see the next video. This video is with Reverend Meli.
Greetings, relatives. The Cherokee greeting word is Osio. So we say Osio, relatives. Before I do anything else, I'm going to sing a little bit of a welcoming song. It's always good to start out with a song or a prayer to let the above beings know that we're here together in a good way, to be of good heart, and that they're welcome to be here with us too. That song, called Joy, is a gift to us from Barbara Warren, a wonderful Western Cherokee singer-songwriter. A Cherokee treasure she is. And the word Uli Helisti, which you heard in that song, is it means both joy and welcome, which feels appropriate because we know that when we go places and we feel welcome, we feel joy. and we know how joyful it is to welcome people to our homes. And my great good fortune in this job here today with you is to welcome you and make sure you feel invited and welcomed to the Sunray Peace Village in Lincoln, Vermont for our annual gathering the last weekend in July. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about Sunray history and what it means to be a peacekeeper in this tradition. As William Faulkner was reported to have said, the past isn't dead, it's not even past. And Cherokee philosophy teaches us that the past, the present, the future all exist right here, right now, in this very moment, in each moment. So I'm going to start this story 2,800 years ago. About 2,800 years ago, this miraculous, wondrous being that we call the Pale One came to the Cherokee people. And the Pale One is one of those miraculous beings that comes often during turbulent times when people need some guidance, need some clear steps, directions for a good way to walk in the world. And the Pale One left with the Cherokee what we call the code of right relationship. And that helps to guide us. Even to this day, we still teach it, it still guides us. And some people say the Pale One is reincarnates from time to time and has maybe reincarnated many times. Maybe is here right now, flipping burgers at a burger joint. Maybe the Pale One on one of their reincarnations, when they crossed over, their energy molecules dispersed and landed many places. And we got wondrous beings to guide us. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Dalai Lama, Tina Turner, and maybe you. So maybe we all have a little bit of that peacekeeper spark in us. There was another being that often is said to be have been a reincarnation of the Pale One, the great peacekeeper that came to the Iroquois people and helped establish the Great Law of Peace, unite the nations, and the Great Law of Peace was the inspiration for our U.S. Constitution. So we can see that this history that sometimes seems so far away is really with us in every moment. About 500 years ago, when Turtle Island was being colonized, a lot of teachings were hidden. People say they were hidden in the hearth fires and kept very carefully through very dark times. And it wasn't until 1978, with the passage of the Native American Religious Freedom Act, that it was legal for Native Americans to once again practice their religions and religious traditions. So again, we can see that this history is really rather current. And in the 1950s and 1960s, there were groups of elders who were concerned that these teachings that had been so carefully hidden might disappear forever. So they literally went around knocking on doors and saying things like, didn't your family have teachings? We think it's time to bring these teachings out and to share them. To remember, time to remember. And at that time, a group called the White Roots of Peace elders came knocking on the door of the Ywahoo family, of the Wild Potato Clan, of the Etowah Band, of the Eastern Cherokee, and said this: it's time to remember. Didn't your family have teachings? And so the elders in the family and other elders got together and thought about which of the family teachings would be appropriate to share widely and in what form. And these elders asked a woman of the fifth generation being the generation that's looked to speak out and change. They looked to this young woman of the fifth generation and said, Dhyani, you're going to be the one to bring out the teachings. And so in around 1969, this young woman of the fifth generation began sharing teachings from her family. And we can remember how brave these elders were. Even before it was legal to do so, they knew it was time to share traditions. So this young woman of the fifth generation became the spiritual director of Sunray Meditation Society, which was founded when she began her teachings. Venerable Dhyani Ywahoo. And she's still our spiritual director today. In the 80s, the Buddhist leaders in Tibet were very worried about their culture disappearing also. And and there had been prophecies that the East and West would meet. And so so Tibetan leaders came over and met with Venerable also. And eventually, Sunray was also seen and recognized as a Dharma center in two different Tibetan Buddhist lineages, the Nyingma and the Drinkhagyu lineages. And Venerable Dhyani got her title Venerable as a reincarnation of Yeshe Sogyo. So these three wisdom streams all run in beauty at the Sunray Peace Village in Lincoln, Vermont. Many elders from many traditions have prophecies that in this time the teachings need to come out and be shared. At the same time, we know that the term cultural appropriation, which is now we use that term, but elders in the 50s and 60s, although they didn't use that term, they were very familiar with that concept, that issue. So the elders just thought, what's the proper form? What's a good way to share these teachings so that all can be invited into these teachings in a good way, in an appropriate way? And Venerable Dhyani was asked to come up with and frame a good frame for the teachings that would be appropriate for all people. And these prophecies have been looked at and watched over, and the elders are watching us today, wondering, how is this experiment going? For 38 years now, the annual gathering at the Peace Village has brought together Indigenous elders, scientists, physicists, wisdom keepers from many traditions to offer teachings to people of all of good heart, so that we all have a good earth to walk upon, clean air to breathe, good water to drink unto 7 generations. And this year, in the 39th year of the gathering, we're enlarging the scope and the view and the name from the elders gathering to elders and youth gathering, because it's really clear, isn't it, that our young wisdom keepers need to be invited into the circle, and so that the wisdom might be carried forth into generations and generations and generations. The Peace Village in Lincoln, Vermont, where this annual gathering is held and where other teachings happen, is from the tradition of the Cherokee Peace Villages, or sometimes called white villages or white towns. And in these peace villages, traditionally, historically, folks could come for teachings, for retreat, for sanctuary, and no matter what transgressions they might have perpetrated, they were welcome at the Peace Village to stay and receive teachings. And after seasons had passed, and they were seen as having made restitution, and they could go back, return to their communities, or stay at the Peace Village. So our modern Peace Village in Lincoln, Vermont, is in this tradition and offers teaching, a place of retreat, a beautiful sanctuary. And folks seem to come to the Peace Village for a variety of reasons, and probably many more reasons than I even know. Some come because from a drive to make a better world. Some come to attain their own peace of mind. Some come because they're looking for spiritual community. I'm sure there are even many more reasons. And some come because we have really great music and dancing and singing, and we eat together and we live together in communities. So some folks are really looking for that example. And some folks come to find answers to the question, how do we live a good life? Ywahoo, everyone.
Thank you. We welcome everyone to the Peace Village. The Elders and Youth Gathering will be in person and online this year. We thank you for being here tonight and listening. And if you have any questions, you can go to sunray.org, and there have been some links listed in the chat. So we wish you good night, and we thank you for being here.